Ozzy, Jacobo here, legendary guy. Like he's e-commerce entrepreneur, bodybuilder, right? He doesn't. You can. I mean, you probably can see he barely fits into the frame. How much you benching?
I get that question asked all the time, man. I don't really train for strength,
Uh huh.
really. It's more for hypertrophy, but on chest day, I'll do decline bench 275 for 8. So I would assume
Wow.
my max is like, I don't know, 325, 335, something like that.
Oh wow. Nice.
Yeah, we're getting
Nice.
up there. Getting up there. Still got a long way to go.
Nice. Good stuff, my man. So yeah, guys, just like kind of the introduction for Jacopo. He's e-commerce entrepreneur. He joined when he joined BBA the first time last year.
It's been almost exactly a year. I joined like mid-October, like October 10th or something like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so in 1 year, so and then his Jacopo scaled his store to over five G's a day in sales. And yeah, I'm here to pretty much ask you some questions and kind of like share. And now Jacopo also joined our team, and he's helping inside of our community other entrepreneurs who want to crack e-commerce. He's running his stores. He's helping inside of our community like real practitioner. And I want to pretty much see what's working right now. You're in the front lines, like in both sides. Like you see kind of like what's working, what doesn't work, right? You see all of the fucking mistakes that people are making with their e-commerce businesses. So yeah, my man, thank you so much for making the time for this. I know it's your gym time, right?
100%.
It's approximately your gym time around this time.
It usually was. I've been making a change to my schedule. I noticed that I was just training obviously really hard as I usually do, and I would get very fatigued at the end of the week. And so I
Uh-huh.
just want to take a break at the middle of the week to kind of just recoup my energy and make sure that I can, keep working as efficiently as I can and also keep training as hard as I can. So this is fine, man. Happy to be here.
Uh-huh. Thank you for joining me. Cool. All right. So yeah, my man, like let's start with kind of the $1 million question. Like what's working right now? Like what do you see like currently working in terms of e-commerce, like specifically for for getting that initial traction? I think that's like probably the biggest like barrier to overcome, like having that initial traction, having that initial win, right? So what do you see is kind of like working? I know it's a very kind of a generic question, but I know you'll figure to deliver the
Yeah,
value.
it's a great question, man. I think everybody's looking for that first small win just to see that, hey, this works. Getting that first notification that you got an order is just, I mean, that never goes away, man. Never goes away. What I think works right now that is very different from, let's say, 5 years ago is you can't really just copy and paste necessarily what other people are doing. Um, there's definitely, some exceptions to that rule, and maybe I'll touch on that here. But generally, like when you're researching products, you want to just look into the actual problem behind that product instead of just, hey, this is trending. Somebody's getting sales, somebody's doing well with it. Let me just do the exact same thing and hope that, miraculously I will get the same results. You need to kind of reverse engineer it and see, hey, are there other solutions out there similar to this that potentially are just objectively better? Um, and that's how you enter the market, really. There are other strategies where, hey, you can just copy and paste stuff if you take it to a different market, for example. I think that's definitely a huge opportunity in e-com right now. Instead of just saying, hey, let me do this in the biggest markets in the world. Generally, like people were the same worldwide. So if you see something that's working super well in the US, the same problem is going to be apparent somewhere else. So just take that same thing and just copy and paste it.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, just differentiate yourself somehow. If I can just boil it down to one thing, whether it's the
Mm-hmm.
market you're in or just a different product that solves the same problem, you have to kind of dig a little bit deeper instead of just doing exactly what everybody does.
Man, such a good point, right? Because it's like a few years ago, right? Like maybe it's like obviously the competition was lower, right? Like maybe people were not like not everyone would buy products like on the internet. But we have kind of like blessing and the curse, like with e-commerce, like with any almost like any other like business opportunity right now. The technology and the access and the tools that we are getting access to, right? Like it allows you to start a business with literally like no upfront investment, right? Because like, I mean, Shopify is free for like 90 days. If it's like there's trial and stuff. The apps, they all have trial. Products you can initially drop ship, so you don't have to buy the inventory up front, right? So there's like a, kind of like low barrier of entry there. And at the same time, so that makes it like the barrier of entry like super low for everyone to join. But then, as you said, right, like you have to kind of like the same like with service business, right? Like service business, you can do UGC for clients, you can do videos for clients, you can do media buying for clients. Again, barrier of entry is so low. But then again, like you have to learn how to differentiate. I think that's such a good point that you pointed out, because I feel exactly the same way, that no matter what niche you're in, like whether you're selling like supplements, you're selling gadgets, you're selling whatever, right? Like you have to learn how to differentiate. And what would be like what would be the biggest kind of like maybe like in terms of differentiation, kind of like what would be like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the things that you would focus on? Let's say you start like a new brand, new business, like e-commerce store. What things would you actually pay attention? What's 80/20 here?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, number one, it's what I mentioned previously. It's just, look beneath the product and see the problem. There's many different solutions to the same exact problem. Problems never change, only the solutions do. So maybe there's just a newer version on the market. So that's one way to differentiate yourself, is just have a different product. Second one, also one that I mentioned, just a different market that hasn't been tapped into yet with that same exact product. The third is a different angle. So products, I mean, if you really look at their features, their benefits, it can, target different people in the market that maybe initially weren't targeted by that competitor. So by just shifting your marketing, you can definitely do this very drastically. Like there's, for example, these like, red light cupping massagers that are usually targeted towards athletes. And I saw a brand that instead said, hey, this is for cellulite removal, right? Which I found super
Mm.
interesting, but, totally different angle. They're doing super well with that. So that's another way to do it. And I would say like the last is just, having different marketing in general. Sometimes you'll see these stores that, the product and the problem that it's solving is so good that they can have very poor ads, terrible looking product page, and still kill it. So you can go into the market and just do everything better, and you're going to stand out that way. You're going to be able to
Mm.
overcome them in terms of competition. But to put it simply, just those four are going to get let you go a long way for sure.
Awesome. So, what kind of products, or maybe like any specific like niches you have seen like that, kind of like look interesting to you, or like maybe example of the brand that like you've seen like, wow, they're really dialed in their marketing and they're really good at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am very interested in the health niche,
Uh
just
huh.
medical devices. I think when it comes to speaking to your customer, obviously it's very emotionally heavy, right? These are people that are experiencing literal pain every single
Yeah.
day of their lives. They wake up with it, they go to work, and they're in hell all the time, right? So it's easy to tap into that. But even going beyond the emotional side of things, you can get very precise with the actual logic of like, hey, this is what you're experiencing. This sucks, and here's why this is going to work, right? And so you break down
Mm.
the actual mechanism of your product. And I think the health niche is just the easiest way to do that. Um, and that's personally what I'm interested in. I think when it comes to categories that are maybe a little bit more straightforward, that's definitely one. The beauty one is a
Hmm.
huge one as well. Also very emotionally driven. Same thing with pets, or I would say baby. Like that's kind of almost like the same niche, since pets are almost kind of like our children at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you want something that's, like I said, more straightforward, easier to kind of sell in because it's very emotionally driven, that's kind of where I would start. Not sure if
Mm.
that was the question exactly, but yeah.
Hmm. Nice. And any particular tools that you use like when you're like researching products? Like what's your approach of product research?
Yeah, so I like to, start with some inspiration. So if you have like no place to begin with, Minea is a great tool. You can just kind of see, what's popping off, what's doing well. You can see what's doing well in the last 30 days. You can see what did well 2 years ago. And like I said, problems they never change. This is just these solutions do. So you can find something that worked, 2 years ago, and just find something that's maybe newer now. But I like to go beyond that and actually, find different platforms. So Amazon's a great tool just because obviously the biggest e-commerce platform. There's so much data. You can see what's selling on there that isn't showing up on Minea because those branches haven't yet. But something I've also been utilizing lately is ChatGPT. Actually, just use ChatGPT, bro. But literally, you can for anything. And so I started using that as a way to kind of start the research and say, hey, what are problems that people are experiencing worldwide? Obviously, the prompt is a little bit more intricate than that, but you start to get these responses back, and you start to learn about so many problems that people have that you wouldn't even think of, right?
Huh.
Because you're one person, right? Like you're kind of in a bubble. You don't know everything that people go through day in, day out. And
Hmm.
you can start with the problem first, and then once again use platforms like Amazon to find those solutions, Google Shopping, right? Just direct keywords of like, hey, what solves this actual problem that people have? And
Hmm.
there you basically start with just the seed. Like the seed is the problem, and in that it just grows into a tree of just pretty much infinite possibilities, man. Infinite possibilities of what you can offer to the market. Because really the way that I think about it is, it's so easy to see dropshipping as like this, trendy way to like make money. But at the end of the day, like we're providing value to the market in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form, and that can only start with you actually solving a problem, right? You don't just make money
Mm.
because you make money because you're providing value to people. So that's how I like to start, man. It's just Minea or just direct research
Hmm.
with the help of Mr. Robot Friend ChatGPT.
uh, Thank you, moment. So, actually, it's fascinating. You said that because we have one of our clients in in ESS, Marek Bednar, amazing guy, like such a like value add, and such a not just like entrepreneur, but just like as human being. He's an amazing guy. So when just kind of background on that, like he joined our program first time. He was doing 100K a month with his business. Within 4 months, we've helped him with his community, with resources. We helped him to go to 1 million a month. Now he's doing $6 million a month.
God,
six
man, it's mind blowing.
million dollars a
God
month,
damn.
right? Like, so, it's like most people just make that in a lifetime, and he does that per month with his business. And fascinating thing, I asked him very similar questions, like, why do you think, like, is one of the few people that cracked, like, and he's in the health niche, right? He cracked. He just advertises heavily, spending 100 G's a day on Facebook, right? At a scale, right? And I'm like, okay, so what do you think makes with one brand? You can do that
God.
with like several brands, right? Like it's not a problem to do it with few brands, but he does it with one, right? Like one ad account, like everything's like very simple. But I'm like, how you're able to do that? And he's like, he said exactly the same fucking thing. I understand the X problem that we're solving with our products better than 99.9% of people. And he said exactly the same thing, that people like see this as a, like e-commerce, like drop shipping, like all of these things. People see it as a kind of like a loophole, right? Like you kind of like throwing some shit against the wall and you hope that it works, right? And he's like, I actually fucking understand what I'm selling, right? He attends like webinars, right? So let's say whatever, like let's say you're like wrinkles, right? There's experts, that people that are in that niche, that specialize in that shit, like dermatologists, right? Like, or people that do this for a living, right? We're just kind of like, obviously, as opportunists, right? We come in, we see the demand, we see the problem, like we're trying to sell some products to those people. But there are people that do this like 24/7. That's literally what they do for a living. They study for 5 years in the fucking universities to be kind of like specialists in that, right? So why wouldn't you take advantage of their fucking knowledge? I'm like,
Exactly, man.
and I'm like,
Exactly.
and it's like, so he said he's attending webinars, he's like reading articles, he's like reading like the research, like he's studying the topic that, and that allows him to craft, sales pages, VSLs, that kind of stuff that, most people cannot do, because they simply kind of like shortcutting that phase. They think it's kind of some kind of a gimmicks, right? Or just throwing something against the wall and hopefully it sticks. But the fundamentals of knowing who you're selling to, right? Like you said, knowing the problem that you're solving for these people, like speaking in the language. Like if I'm 30, I mean, I'm Jesus age. I'm like 33. And
There you
so,
go.
and so if I'm like 33-year-old male, right? Like, or you, Jacobo, how old are you? I mean, you don't
I'm gonna be 27 in a few days, man. So I'm getting as old as you,
okay, yeah, so we're both like, yeah, we're
or as
both
young
young,
as you, really.
yeah, yeah. We're both like young males, right? And for us, like young males, let's say we're selling to like 45, 40, let's say 55-year-old women, right?
Mhm.
How the fuck we are going to speak their language if we don't do the research, right? If we
Exactly,
don't
man.
like, if we speak to them the same language we speak to each other, it's not going to convert.
Dude, that's the most important part, right? Is like you're creating these stores, you're creating your business for other people, not for yourself. As
Hmm.
you mentioned, man, it's not a gimmick, it's not a loophole in the system. These are not just numbers on a screen. Like when you see these Shopify screenshots of these sales and like
Uh-huh.
these crazy ad spends on Facebook, these are real people taking out their real credit cards and
Yeah.
putting them into a real website, right? And so you have to think about that fact that there's actual people that you have to speak to. So, if you had to sell that product to somebody, face to face, would you even be able to do that? Right. If the answer is no, then you just don't
Hmm.
know your product well enough. You don't know that person well enough. And speaking to your customer with their language, that's been one thing that's been so key for me this year. Um, when you can resonate with somebody's vocabulary and what they use,
Yeah.
that gets you such a long way, man. That's going to differentiate you, which is the whole topic we've been covering is just differentiate yourself. Nobody else does that, man. Nobody else does that. They don't understand other people, and then people don't feel understood when they go to your product page. They see your ads. They just like, whatever. This doesn't resonate with me, right?
Yeah.
Like when you said something that resonates with me, you can see I instantly just get like super excited. Like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. You want this? You want to do the same thing with your customers, when you're advertising to them. So, it's clear why this guy's doing such insane numbers, because that's where it all starts. If you're gonna take a lot of time in this process, man, do it with research, right?
Mm.
Don't get boggled up with like all the small details of everything else. If you have your research on lock and like, hey, this is exactly who I'm selling to, this is the solution that I'm providing, and you can confidently say like this will provide the transformation that person wants, then everything else after that is so fucking easy, man. So easy.
Mm. How do you use Amazon, like in your research? Like, what are specific kind of like on a tactical level? Like, let's say you want to get it like in a new niche, or maybe even like within the same niche, you're trying to find like some new angles for your ads. You're trying to how to sell your product more efficiently. What would be the tactical steps that anyone can do for their products?
Yeah, so for Amazon specifically, I think the strongest tool in your arsenal is just going to be the reviews, right? So you
Mhm.
have millions of shoppers, man, you have thousands of reviews. So go to a product that's either the same exact product or at least a similar one, and just see what people are saying. Like just read through it, really invest yourself into it. Once again, try to note these more common phrases and words that they use. See what they don't like about that product as well, and see if you can find something that's maybe doesn't have that. That's an improvement to it. And a better way to take all this information in is, once again, ChatGPT. Like have it actually process all these reviews for you and ask it those things, right? So you don't have to do it manually. And from there, you figure out so much about what that person wants exactly, what's it helped them solve in the first place. And sometimes, like you'll see a product firsthand, and it's like, okay, well, this is pretty obvious what this is going to do for that customer. And then you read the reviews and it's like, wow, it's like this entirely different thing that you just wouldn't know unless it's literally like hearing people like speak to you, right? And like
Mm.
usually you'd have to pay thousands of dollars to have like a customer survey where,
Yeah.
people are being asked for things, you can get it for free on Amazon by just reading people's stories. So that's how I like to use it when it comes to improving advertising. Um, I mean, if I want to, work on ads, it's like separate platforms, but like, God, the customer reviews are just so powerful, man.
Mm. What's your favorite platform right now, Facebook or TikTok?
As far as advertising, 100% Facebook. That's just been my bread and butter. I love TikTok. It's just never been one that I've been proficient with.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's just the creative style. Creative style is just a bit too. I mean, I'm a millennial, so it sounds kind of fucked up to say, but it's too millennial for me. Like,
Uh-huh.
I like something that's just got a little bit more focus on the copywriting style of things, and I think that's just
Mm.
Facebook. That's what that audience appreciates. So yeah, love Facebook, man.
Nice. So for people that don't know you, like what has been your journey, like overall, like entrepreneurial journey, like so far until this point? I know you've been in different like industries, different kind of businesses, and yeah, if you can, share that, please.
Yeah, sure. So I've been, self-employed slash, had my own business since I was 21. Like I said, I'm 26. I'll be 27 soon. So long time. I started as just a smartphone reseller, mainly iPhones. That's
Hmm.
how I found my way into just making money on my own. Funny enough, I've seen so many people inside the program and just, talking to other entrepreneurs. They got their start with that. It's a great way to just make money quickly. It's just flipping stuff, man. And obviously
Can you tell
electronics have
more,
a
like how that works?
Yeah, it was pretty simple, man. So, you post some ads on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, other, buy and sell apps like OfferUp, Let Go. I say, hey, I buy iPhones, I buy electronics. People, they like the convenience aspect of just like, okay, I can just get quick cash, right? Instead of like, it's really not that long of a process to take photos of your product and like write a small description, a price. But
Hmm.
for people, God, those 15 minutes, it's like their entire lives. So if you can offer them a way to get quick cash, it's huge. And so obviously you can offer below the market price and then you just sell it for a profit. Makes it even faster. What I was doing is, I had some connections in China, so I would just sell to them directly. Never had to repair anything if it was broken. It was just like, hey, I know I'm going to get paid. I literally had like a price list, like a spreadsheet. Like
Hmm.
I know for this and that condition, I'm going to get paid $400. So if I've reached out to somebody, I'm going to offer them 250 or 300. I know I'm going to make that much money. Um, and then yeah, simple as just drive out to them. Obviously, make sure it's in that condition, and then bam, you make your profit. So I did that for quite a bit of time, and I think like 2-3 years till
How much money you were making then?
I was making a decent amount of money for my age. Like I said, I was 21 up to 24. My best month, I made 9K, a little bit over 9K in profit. It was also
Yeah.
February, which is like the shortest month.
Uh-huh.
So it was going good, man. But obviously, I was trading so much of my time.
Uh-huh.
It was to the point like that month when I did 9K. Fuck, man, I was driving like 8-10 hours a day, right? Because I
Oh
have to
wow.
like go out and meet these people. That was like my thing, is the convenience side of things. Is I'm gonna go to you. So I'd get home just like super tired, and I've got all these phones to like package up and shit. Um, but yeah, I was making a decent amount of money with it. So
So
eventually, I
this is something, I guess, like that's like anyone can do, right?
100% like you need to know the technology side of things when it comes to obviously making sure you're not going to get burnt.
Uh-huh.
So like when I started, one of the first phones that I bought, I don't know if you're like familiar with this, but an iCloud lock, where basically, and this has to do with like stolen phones actually. It's because obviously if people see an ad like, hey, I buy iPhones in cash, somebody that's maybe not the most ethically sound is going to go steal a phone and just get some cash from it instead of going to like a pawn shop. And if
Uh-huh.
you don't know any better, you're going to buy it. And the problem with an iCloud lock is you can't use that phone at all. So
Oh
you can lose
wow.
a lot of money if you don't know what you're looking for. I think if you have that and you just post ads like crazy, just outreach, get leads. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Mm. And then what happened? Like so you've been in that business, then what were your next move?
Yeah, so I ran that up until COVID, and so COVID was definitely a big killer for me. Since I was meeting people in person, obviously like phones, electronics, they're not the most sanitary products, so that's basically stopped me from doing business for a long time. To be honest with you, I was kind of happy about it because I wanted to transition out of it. As I mentioned, it was taking up so much of my time,
Hmm.
and I couldn't see myself scaling past 9 10K a month. And I was like,
Mm.
what's the point? Like, I just have a high paying job. Yeah, that's cool. I'm very blessed to do that. It's easy. I'm just driving, but I wanted something else, man. So being in that space, I always saw like ads on Facebook about, e-commerce and drop shipping. So it was always in the back of my mind, but I was like,
Mhm.
this is probably a good time to start it. I'm at home, might as well do something about it. So that's where I began. It was like I can't remember the name of the course, but I tried it out. It was based on like Google ads. Fuck, dude, thinking back now, like the store was so bad. The ads were just terrible. Oh man, but it's how I started. Um, and then yeah, dude, I ended up just losing money for a long, long time trying to make this happen by myself, trying to figure it out from YouTube videos, and just never found success. I got some sales here and there, but I just yeah had no idea what I was doing. No idea.
Mm. But the important thing that you started, right? I think it's like even though like you were, because I mean everything in life is like a learning process, right? Like it doesn't matter what you're trying to learn, whether you're trying to go to the gym, like build muscle, or you're trying to start a business. Everything is a learning process. But there's always like a first, kind of like first trials, like we're trying something. And the important thing is through all of that, right? Like even though like you have not had that like massive success like right away, like a lot of people expect, people watch Instagram and like, I want the fucking Lamborghini like tomorrow. And like and that's like not likely to happen. Like there's very low probability that that will happen to them. But even though like you have not had that kind of success like instantly, you still kept moving, right? Like what kept you moving though? Like what was your like motivation, or like the reason for you to keep trying?
Yeah, it's a deep question, man. I first wanted to circle back to what you mentioned. Like, everybody wants something so quickly, but
Uh-huh.
you just have to get your feet wet. I think everybody kind of gets stuck on like doing it perfect the first time. Just
Mm-hmm.
realize, dude, it's going to be so scrappy at the beginning. Just get started. But anyway, for me, like what kept me going was just the fact that I hate the idea of being mediocre.
Mm.
If there's one thing that's driven me in life, if I look, for let's say 20 years, like living the just average dream of like, hey, you're making, something like the low six figures and like you're married, blah, 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 got a nice house. That to me is like a nightmare, dude. Like, I don't want that. I want
Mm.
something extraordinary for myself. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew that, where I was at, just, I wasn't going to get there. So,
Mm.
this appeared to me like the vehicle to get me there. And I knew that, hey, it's going to take some time. It's going to probably suck, but I know that the potential is there. So I just got to keep pushing. That's it.
Mm. So there was like, I talk about this like quite often. Like there was like some amount of pain, right? That kind of like, humans, they're either moving towards pleasure or away from pain. And so for you, like kind of like staying where you were, like it was associated with or just like not achieving your full potential, right? And knowing inside of you that you have it, right, was associated with amount of pain, and that was your driver pretty much.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love the saying, people do incredible things either out of desperation or inspiration.
Yeah.
For me, it was honestly a lot of desperation at the time.
Mm.
It was definitely a difficult year for me. So I almost like had to make it work. And, I'd go through like extraordinary measures to do so. Um, and then obviously now I'm to the point where it's like more of an inspiration side of things. But yeah, like something big has to kind of push you to get there. You have to have some big reason why. And I think a lot of
Mm.
people that are probably listening to this are the same way. You have that drive to say, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, if you've chosen this live instead of watching that like TikTok video, then shout out to you.
Exactly, bro. Now you'll be making those TikTok videos with a little link on there that says shop now.
Exactly, be on the other side of things. Good stuff. So okay, so you've done that. Then what were your like first breakthroughs? So you were trying like for quite some time. It wouldn't like have like a lot of tractions. Like what would happen next?
Yeah, so I mean that's when I realized like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, I think a lot of people are maybe a little bit cocky in themselves and their skill sets. I was the same way. I'm like, yeah, eventually I'll figure it out, whatever.
Yeah.
After I did it for a year on my own, kept losing money. I naturally looked for a program that said, hey, what's a good system that's going to teach me how to do this? That's when I found BBA. I've been chatting with you through Instagram, telling you about what I've been doing. And I figured, hey, this guy's been so helpful. Like, if his free stuff is this good, like, might as well check out, the paid program. So as soon as I got in, for me, man, like the main difference at the start was the product research side of things. I
Mm-hmm.
was just looking in the wrong places. I did what a lot of people do now, where you just scroll through AliExpress and whatever looks cool to you, it's like, all right, I'll try this out,
Mm-hmm.
knowing no idea why you're doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's where I found the product. But also, what I was doing on the advertising side of things was, now looking back to it, was just such boneheaded strategies, man. Like, I'm talking like you run ads and you optimize for add a cart.
Oh, really?
Hope, like, for some reason, expecting to get a sale when you tell Facebook, "Hey, I just want add a carts." Dude, I don't know. I saw that somewhere in a YouTube video, and I'm like, this is how it is. So just as simple as like following a system from experts that have been there and done that. Um, that's I instantly saw success. It was literally a month after I joined. So
Mm. Nice, man. So, and right now, like guys, inside of BBA, like Jacobo, I mean, shout out to you, humongous shout out. Like, the Jacobo actually laid out, like, because you're like actually hands on, right? Like, and practicing all of this and seeing all the mistakes. He put out all of the strategies that are working for him inside of the training, and it's getting amazing results for our clients. So having conversations with like different people, right? Because as inside of BBA, like Brand Builders Academy, like you see different strategies, you see different people, you see what's working, what's not. Like, what would be your kind of like let's say the initial, like let's say you have the initial conversation with someone, right? And they tell you something, or kind of like you have that initial conversation, and somehow, like I know how it is, like with me, like when I talk to someone and I know that this person will be successful. What are those factors to you, when you talk to someone?
mm, that's a great question. Yeah, I definitely will have those conversations where I know, like, hey, this person's gonna kill it, no doubt. I think it starts with just an undying resolve of, I'm gonna make this happen. Like, no matter what, this is going to happen. I don't care how many times I fail.
Mm,
And two is a willingness to listen. So, them saying, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
hmm.
please teach me. Like, I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, like, I'm gonna try. That's really it, man. With those two things, and you have the right coaching,
Hmm.
um, you never give up, right? That's the first thing.
Yeah.
But you listen, right? Like, you don't get so much in your head of, somebody tells you something, maybe it doesn't align with you, so you never try it. You
Yeah.
think like, hey, I'm just so much better than everybody else. You
Yeah.
let go of that ego a bit, and you just listen, you just apply. Those two things in combination, man, they take you so far.
Man, and it's amazing you said that, because even for me right now, and for people that I know, they're like, for instance, like we met with like Marek, and it's like we talk to each other and we both taking fucking notes, right? Like, it's like, it's like I'm learning from him, right? And he's learning from me, and like, and it's, and I've seen it so many times that, like, it's no matter what level you're at, right? Like, either you're just starting something, right? Or you already have some success. There's always like levels to the game, and there's always like, you might be missing something like super basic, that just like, because you don't think that that's important, right? But just getting reminded of that, right? Like, and seeing that perspective, and keeping your eyes open, keeping your mind open, such an important thing, that I think a lot of people are not, kind of like, they're missing that. There's like, even especially after they had some success, they kind of like, I already know that. It's like, or people go through the course, right? I found that with myself, even like, I go through the course and I'm like, fuck, I already know this, right? And then, like, I would make a mistake and I would get reminded, fuck, that was in that course. I should have fucking watched that course closely.
Exactly.
And I would go and rewatch the course, and like, fuck, I see so many things that I have missed previously. It's the same as like rewatching the same movie. Like, let's say you watch the movie today and then you watch it in 3 years, you'll probably see it differently, because your perspective has changed, right? You probably
Exactly.
would see things that you have not seen, even watching the same. Yeah, it's the same. So I think how they say repetition is anyways, like you have to, like, it's like, it's rarely that you'll get something from the first try, right? So first of all, as you said, like, you have to try it again and again and again, and keep improving every single time. And second is, yeah, keep your eyes open, because, and keeping your eyes open to specifically to feedback of people who have been where you want to be, right? Because like that will just, eliminate many mistakes, and will show you like the gaps where you can improve.
Yeah, stay humble, man. Simple as that. Listen to Kendrick Lamar, humble. There's levels to it, because there are, man. There are levels to this. I've gotten good success where I think, maybe somebody below me is like, wow, like you're just the man. But dude, to me, like I'm a fucking ant, right?
Mm,
When you mention people that are making 6 mil a month, it's like I don't even understand. I can't fathom that level, and so I always want to remain humble and know, like, hey, I still have so much to learn. So be an eternal student. Like no matter what success you get to, there's always somebody above you. Always. So
mm,
keep your eyes open, your ears ready to listen, no matter what. Like you said, and that's how you get to eventually be that person. That you look up
mm.
to, that you listen to.
Awesome. And so we have a few questions that people have dropped here. So one of the questions was, while you're talking about this, guys, is possible to get a lead time shorter than 30 or 40 days?
Absolutely. I'm assuming you're talking about product fulfillment. 30 to 40 days. That's probably AliExpress, right? The thing is with AliExpress, the prices that you see on there are usually pretty low because they're offering you extremely slow shipping.
Mhm.
So, when you first look at it, it's like, wow, that's so cheap. I want to make like huge profit margins. But after I found like 14 days, customers get really pissed off, man.
Mhm.
Eventually they file chargebacks and that just kills your business. So, what I'd recommend instead of AliExpress, use CJ dropshipping. That's what I've been using. I still use to this day. I have an agent connected to that I can talk to directly to get discounts, figure out customizations, things like that. And it's insane logistics, man. So for lighter products, so things like jewelry or just anything that's, less than I'd say a pound, 2 pounds, you can get to the US from China in less than 7 days on average. It's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
So that's what I would recommend starting with. Anything that's heavier than that, you can still get to the US in like 7 to 12 days. So
Wow. That's very, I mean, sometimes, I would order something from like a website, like Shopify website, like US fulfillment, and I would wait for that product for like 6, 7 days. So this is not, unreasonable, right? This is something that you can at least like work with and kind of like explain to your customers that, yes, there been like a delay in shipping. And I think that's something that you can work with and build your business around, at least initially, right? And then once the business has momentum, you can buy the inventory, like you can ship it locally from US warehouse, or whatever you're selling, and have even better experience for your customers.
yeah, 100%. Whenever you get proof of concept, get that momentum and take it to the next level. You never want to get comfortable and be like, oh yeah, this will last forever.
Yeah.
Improve the experience for your customer, brand your products. If possible, if it makes sense, ship it to the country that you're fulfilling in. But yeah, it all starts with the proof of concept.
Awesome. So any particular like countries or markets that you find interesting, like from your perspective, like seeing, kind of like working right now?
I think there's a lot of opportunity in the German market
Mm-hmm.
specifically. Big population, 80 million people, used to shopping online, high buying power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Generally, also pretty new market. So you can take once again everything that's worked in the U.S. and just copy and paste it there. You can translate stuff very easily with different Shopify apps, so you don't even have to speak German. Um, that's what I find interesting. Generally, like a lot of European countries, I would just stay away from something that's normally cash on delivery,
Mm.
but Germany's not. So that's what I think is the most interesting. Me personally, living in Mexico here, that's my next venture is getting my residency here, access to different payment methods, being able to import stuff and selling here. So that's another one. It's a little bit, there's a bigger barrier to entry because of those things. You have to be residents, but Germany, you can sell from anywhere, man. No
Oh,
matter where you
interesting.
live, you can get started there. So
Interesting. So in Mexico, in order to sell in Mexico, like you have to be a resident?
you can sell in here, but you can't really sell effectively. What you'll find is that you have obviously super cheap traffic,
Mm-hmm.
but it just doesn't convert very well. One factor to that is the fact that Mexican people don't have a lot of buying power. So there's payment methods here that allow people to split up their initial payment into 6 payments that you
Uh-huh.
can only get access to with it's basically like a social security number for Mexico.
Oh,
So for
interesting.
that, you have to be a resident. Importing certain products is really difficult without residency as well, or some kind of business entity. So that's another requirement. Because you
Hmm.
can get decent shipping from China here, like 15 days, 20 days on average, not terrible. But to kind of increase that trust, or people will get stuff in 1 to 2 days, you have to have it on hand. So that's kind of, you definitely can't sell here. It's not really going to work out numbers wise. People just won't
Yeah.
convert as much as they should be.
Uh-huh. And it's fascinating you said that, right? Like about Mexico, for example. Mexico, even like I know some people selling in Colombian market, Colombia, Venezuela. I know we've had someone in the program, I remember he was selling like in Honduras, and
Mm.
would be doing like 10 G's a day, like 10, $15,000 a day in sales, like in
In
Honduras, right?
Honduras,
Yeah, yeah.
God,
Yeah, so it's like obviously it's there's like learning curve. There's particular like moving parts that you have to, like you said, you need to have in place, and the payment processors usually some kind of like bottlenecks. But on the other side of things, as an upside, as you mentioned, the competition is so much lower, right? So I guess it's like in any game, like I mean, I consider business a game, right? It's like a game. Like you have to identify your strengths, you have to identify your weaknesses, right? And you have to obviously play to your strengths. So let's say you are like you speak Spanish, right? So now, okay, so is there anything that I can do to to appeal to my strengths, right, and sell products, even like in U.S. market? Let's say selling in U.S. market, just advertising in Spanish. I've seen people do that and having good success, right? Because like there's like 50 or 70% of Latin American people in the United States that speak Spanish. There's some people in Miami. I mean, some of the people that, or our cleaning lady that works with us, she doesn't speak English, right? She just speaks, you
so
know,
she's really good.
she doesn't speak English. She just speaks Spanish. And I mean, she makes good money. I mean, we pay her well. She has some other other clients. She makes like 4 or 5 G's a month or even more. And like, now those kind of people, like, I mean, they're also buying stuff. I've seen her, like, she says she's 70 years old. She's on TikTok. She's on Facebook. She's
That's
like,
hilarious.
you know. So now,
Yeah.
again, like, what kind of like leverage you have, or what kind of like edge you can have, like in from that perspective, that maybe you'll get into less saturated market. Because let's say you're just starting your business and you want to get into like US market, you want to sell like very competitive products. It might be very kind of challenging for you, like at the beginning, right? And the learning curve might be steeper than if you were to kind of like start from like less competitive market, get some skills, gain some cash flow, gain some capital, and then go into like more sophisticated market.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you mentioned business is a game. 100% it is. You also have to figure out like which pool you want to play in, right? Because when
uh
you jump into that pool where there's so many different sharks, so many different
yeah,
players in there, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. There's some giants in there.
yeah.
Kind of like literal, sea life, right? You're a fish, you eat up others, you get huge. If you're a little baby fish hopping into there, man, it's gonna be tough. But if you can find that pool where there's, everybody's still kind of starting, everybody's still kind of small, it's huge. And I also like that you said that you can, get your beginning there. Like, yeah, you might not have, this 7-figure a month store,
Yeah,
but you can make, something well into the 6 figures,
yeah,
30% profit margins that you
yeah,
can then use to invest into these giant markets and have something that has a huge barrier to entry, right? Because you need this, this money for, let's say, a customized product,
yeah.
right? That, takes all this customer data of what they hate about what's available in the market now and just make it that much better. Mansa Sleep is a great example of this. They
Mm-hmm.
sell sleep masks, and they have a proprietary design for what they have. And they took everything that these sleep masks in the markets don't have. So, for example, they don't have 100% light blackout.
Yeah,
The headphones are very uncomfortable to put on. The actual material sucks. So they took so much time, so much money
yeah,
to create the perfect mask based off of that. Now they do just well over 3 mil per month. And
Oh,
that's, you can
nice.
only do that if you have a business to start off with. So if you want those maybe easier wins, yes, these other
Yeah.
markets are a great pool to swim in.
Yeah, definitely, my man. And I think you raised a very good point, which is, kind of like, obviously, especially as ambitious entrepreneur, that might be like tricky and difficult to do, but kind of like adapt your ambition, right, to the level of skill that you have, which is like, okay, yes, I want to, as you said, I want to do like crazy numbers, but like, hold on, maybe you're not ready. Maybe you have to get some easier wins first, right? Like either it was a market, was a product, or there are some people that I know that like, oh yeah, I want this product, I want to like create like a massive innovation in the market, and they will spend like, and let's say they have capital, right? That can be actually an obstacle because like they have too much money. Let's say they have like $100,000 in savings, so they would spend $100,000 like developing custom product because they like it, or because they think it would make sense, or because it's innovative, and then we launch and the product would flop, right? Because like it wasn't actually based on the real feedback. So I think the great model, as you said, is even starting with dropshipping model, like using those platforms like CJ dropshipping. There's so many platforms that like, I think people have so many like skewed beliefs about like dropshipping as is, and maybe because they have not had exposure to the right platforms, to the right context, in the right community, in the right environment, where they think that the only way that dropshipping works is like 30, 40 days shipping times, which is not entirely accurate, right? Because their platforms, as you said, like 7, 10 days, 12 days shipping is not horrible, right? Like this is something you can build your business with, as long as the product quality is decent. And so use that, get initial momentum, learn about your product, learn about your niche, learn about the problem that you're solving, and then you can innovate. Now you have the capital to innovate, because innovation usually costs money. Product development, talking to suppliers, changing the product in one way or another, that stuff can cost you money. It can have tremendous ROI, right? But you need to accumulate that capital first. And so so many good points, my
Yeah,
man. Like,
it's a lot of risk too, right? It's like you can potentially lose all that money, and you build so many skills when you start lean like that. When you grow your store from zero to however much, like say 100K a month, you know exactly how the process works. Now, when you go to invest that much money, you can do it confidently,
yeah,
and you're not just kind of in the dark, maybe in like this manic state of like, oh, this is going to be so awesome, but you just really just have no idea.
yeah.
So get the experience first, then get confident, and then you can implement it. So
Even like to that point, again, like Marek, right? Like, I mean, he's a great entrepreneur, and he's doing $6 million a month, like selling the product that many people can source, right? They can source that product like independently, right? And only now, like after he's doing like 6 million a month, right? I mean, he probably could have done it faster, right? But only now, like he wants to do a custom products. He wants to do like many of the kind of like innovational things. He's building an app. There's a lot of kind of like technologies that he's incorporating. But again, that stuff costs money. That can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars if you want to do it properly. If you want to work with the right firm, outsource it the right way, build it the right way. And so it is important to kind of like know the sequence in which you operate the business. But I wanted to kind of like just like seeing your journey, and like seeing what last week we had a conversation with Tommy Castellano, and like great guy, also like inside of Brand Builders Academy. Just like the man, like I was thinking about this, like the opportunity that we have right now. You're in Mexico right now, right? You're selling products in the US
yep,
market.
yep,
How
kind
fucking
of
cool
kind
is
of
that?
nuts, right?
How
Oh, it's
fucking
awesome,
man,
amazing.
like, you know what I mean? It's like the what kind of like opportunity we have. Obviously, it's like it's not like all like how they call it, rainbows and
Sunshine and rainbows.
sunshine and rainbows, right? Like
That's right.
there's a learning curve. There's like you have to accumulate like certain skills in order to do well with this business or with any others. But like, fuck, I mean, you can live in Mexico, right? Like, great cost of living, great environment. I mean, whatever country you prefer, right? You can live in Colombia. Some people live in Europe. Like you can run your business from the laptop pretty much, right? Sell products in United States, right? Marek, for instance, I mean, he travels. Like last month he was in China. This month he's in Miami. Next month he's in Costa Rica, running $6 million a month fucking business. Like,
Yeah.
how fucking cool is that? How cool is that opportunity that we all have access to? How blessed we are to live this fucking, day and age and have access to the opportunity like e-commerce, right? Again, there's other opportunities, but I do believe like e-commerce, one of the best ones, is scalable. You don't have to show your face, right? Like you're running the brand behind the scenes, like no one knows who you are, right? People buying the product. As long as you're solving that problem, as long as you do the homework, as long as you're accumulating the skill set that you need to do in order to sell your products and serve your clients, that's fucking it. And
Yeah. There's literally zero reason to complain. There's so much opportunity out there.
We're so blessed.
So
and I'm I man, like thank you so much for jumping, because like you're like literally living proof of that like you can have zero skills, you can have like get into the opportunity like e-commerce, as long as you're committed, as long as you want to learn, as long as you like surround yourself with the right people, surround yourself in the right environment, you can crack that game. And yeah, I think that's super fucking inspiring, man. Super fucking inspiring.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. If I can say something to anybody listening in, it's just I know that shit gets hard, man. It sucks. I also thought about quitting and just stopping. But it's kind of like that cliche, like it's like that one image of somebody who's like mining underground. He's like this close to getting to that gold,
yeah,
those diamonds, and he just stops right there. Once you get to that point, it sucks so bad that you want to stop. That's when you should keep going, because that's when you know you're that close, and that's what it was for me. So keep going, guys. Keep going.
Yeah. And again to that point, I'll use Mark one more time, because again, like it's also so inspiring. And he's been in this game for like 4 or 5 years, right? Now, okay, if you think about it, okay, first year you're doing something, you probably will suck, like most likely, like a 95%. Maybe you're one of the outliers, maybe you kind of like get lucky, right? Maybe like for some reason, like maybe less competitive market, maybe you'll have success, like maybe you hit a product that just like kind of like continues to scale for you, but like most likely you'll suck. Now, what will happen if you stick to the same opportunity for the second year? Okay, now like I mean, you probably made like all of the major mistakes, right, that you probably won't try to repeat them, right? Okay, now you're getting better. Now, third year into that opportunity, now now you're thinking more long term, you accumulated some capital, like you start building on that. 4 or 5 years, like now, like if you stick to one fucking opportunity for 5 years, there is no fucking way. If you committed to it, there's no fucking way you won't make it work. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, stop hopping around. Stop hopping around. That's what kills people, man. Is like they get to that year mark where they realize they suck. They're not making as much money as they wanted to. They see this brand new shiny thing over there, and they're like, "Well, that looks so much better." And what happens? Like they start, and at the beginning, everything is great, and then they get to a year mark, and it sucks. And now they just do the same thing over and over, over and over. But God, those skills they pile up, man. That's what we don't realize is like after you do something for a year, 2 years. If you were just to look back to where you started, it's like, damn, I've learned so fucking much.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, all of that pressure you built up from those skills, it just explodes, man. It compounds. I don't know what Marek's timeline was. I'm actually interested to hear about that because, like, how quick was it for him getting to 6 million?
1 year.
1 year.
1 fucking year, man. Like, he was that's also like experience, right? Like he was running this like in the European markets, and with just like general stores, kind of like model, like niche stores, but like not the best like user experience and stuff, and like all of the issues like payment processing, like dispute stuff like that. So he had to reinvent his business and build it the right way. And now like he was able to do that in 1 year. Like again, the value of experience, the value of sticking to one fucking opportunity. He's like, yeah, okay, I'm now switching to fucking Amazon. Oh, I'll be like fucking day trading and shit. Like, so like most people do. He didn't do that. And that's why, again, like I think like in terms of the vehicle, just stick to one vehicle. You want to do e-commerce, stick to fucking e-commerce. Like join the best communities. I'm not obviously, I'm proud of this. I guess, I think not fucking I think. I know that BBA is one of the best fucking like launch pads for anyone who wants to like do e-commerce and get those initial skills and take it to the next level. But obviously, do your research, like do join like what makes sense for you. But like fucking commit, that's like the main thing. Like commit, fucking commit. 5 years, give it fucking 5 years. Like Jacobo, how long did it take you to get a body like that? How many years?
Fuck, man. I started lifting when I was 18.
There
Like
you
I'm gonna be
fucking go.
27. I was 125 pounds when I started
Holy
lifting.
shit.
I'm 185 now, so
Of
it takes a long
muscle.
time, man. Yeah, 60 pounds.
Wow. Mark, I mean, you when you come
Yeah,
to
of
Miami,
course.
like Mark
That
has
guy's a
also been,
giant.
yeah. Mark has also been doing that for like 5 or 6 years, like religiously. Like nutrition, food, like the same. It's the same. It's like commitment. It's like commitment over the longer period of time. You
Yeah,
do.
it translates into business as well. I think a lot of successful business owners, they have some kind of routine like that, even if it's
Yeah.
not, more bodybuilding. It's just
Hmm.
discipline, man. It's just discipline and the realization, like, hey, I'm not gonna, go to the gym today and then I'm gonna wake up and just be Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? It's gonna take some
Yeah.
time. Um, but also those results, like that's the ones that people really respect because they know, like, hey, clearly it took you a long time to get there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. And so we have like people watching this, like, and you guys, like, I mean, thank you for watching. And I think the main message I just wanted to share with everyone that whatever you do, just fucking stick to it. Like, surround yourself by the best environment where you can accelerate that learning. But just understand that it probably won't be overnight. Like, it will take probably like at least few months, right? At least few months to have that initial traction. Once you have like that initial traction, that you can start building on that. But the most important thing, that you accumulating the skill sets that, like, over the course of of a lifetime, will be tremendously valuable, right? Like, even 5 years from now, the skill set that you're accumulating, let's say selling stuff on the internet, understanding problems that you are solving for other people, it's the same business. It's like, as you said, like, it's you're doing the service business, you editing videos for clients, right? Or you buying ads for clients, you solving the problem. It's the same principle. How well do you understand that problem? How well can you present them the solution, sell that solution, and then actually execute on that solution? So I
Yeah,
think
you
it's
can you can go to $1 million and then get taken down to zero for whatever reason. But if there's one thing somebody that can't take away from you, it's your skills.
yeah.
They can take all your money, all your assets, but your skills they cannot strip that from you. So whatever you learn, man, that's always going to serve you in life, and that's always something you can use to make money. So you'll never be short of that. Essentially,
Yeah,
never.
100, my man. And like, I'm looking forward to seeing you at like 1 million a month. That's like the next one we do the interview. And for you
Absolutely.
to yeah, just, I mean, just keep building on that. I think that's the most important. So just stick to it, like build on that, and you executing it perfectly. So thank you so much for making this. I think people watching this, I think that should get you guys like inspired, that you if Jacobo can do it, if I can do it, like we can just like come from random environments and we can figure this shit out, then you can do it as well. And as long as you stick to it, have that consistency, have that discipline. And yeah, um I'm
Absolutely. So I'm
yeah.
gonna drop my Instagram here in the
Yeah,
chat, guys. I'm not super active on here, but send me a message. We can chat on there if you have any
let
questions
me
about
let me
just
let me
ecom
copy
or
it. So
anything.
for you guys, like, it's Hawk. Oh, it's very nice.
At Jacobito. Yeah.
Hakabito.
So the reason I did that is just obviously people have trouble saying my name, so that's how you literally say it. It's Jacobito. That's just
Uh-huh.
my nickname. But yeah, so I'm not super active on there, but I'll check that for you guys. Obviously, I'm the most active inside BBA. That's where I do direct coaching with students. But yeah, would love to see you guys in there. It's been phenomenal being part of that team. That's fulfillment that you can not get anywhere else, man. Let me tell you, I can get to, a million a month, which I
Yeah.
will 100%. I know that, but
Done.
this is different. This is something that can only be achieved by helping others. So we'll love to see you guys in there. If there's anything else, if there's not anything else, Alex, rather, guess we'll just finish it here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. connect with Mr. Minimosi. I think you're better than Hermosi. I mean, I think
Nah,
you're bigger than him. uh,
nah, man, not
he's,
yet.
he's great at certain things, right? But you're up and comer, and you already like deliver so many things for our community. Showed what's possible, and my man, I'm looking forward to seeing your next breakthroughs. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, let's keep building on this opportunity. Let's keep taking advantage of what these e-commerce as an opportunity gives us, and let's keep building.
Yeah, keep pushing, guys.
All right.
All right, peace out,
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah.
Catch you later, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right.